All right. Starting the regular meeting of September 25th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Present.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Harris. Here. Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Here.
All right. Madam Clerk, please read the adequate notice.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Desi Talk, and News India Times on December 12th, 2023, and posted main lobby municipal complex on that same date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So good evening, everybody. Brief reminder as we begin. When a speaker is recognized, it is their time to share and our time to listen. If you disagree with their viewpoint, please wait until you are recognized to share your perspective, and we will afford you the same courtesy of being heard. If this respectful process is not followed, I will be compelled to issue a warning with the gavel. Should any further disruption occur, you may be asked to leave so we can maintain order and continue with the township business efficiently. Some changes to be noted. First of all, the Jazz Festival has been moved to Mini B-Wheel. It should be taking place currently. And I believe we are removing Resolution R575 from the agenda. Okay. And now I would like to highlight a few agenda items we will be discussing today. We will be making our neighborhood safer by supporting Resolution R584, providing radios for our new and current police vehicles. And we will also be applying for a grant under Resolution 574 to the League of Municipalities and Mayor's Wellness Campaign for mental health initiatives. And now moving on to, to the approval of minutes, number 5. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And I would like to yield the floor to Councilman Pointer.
Thank you, Council President. In regards to Ordinance 2233, I'm going to ask this body to table the ordinance. And my reason is pretty simple. While I disagree that we absolutely have to follow, based on state statute, 2-2.17, item B, in regards to forming the subcommittee, I believe should be followed. And as a matter of principle, I believe it should be followed. So with that, I would ask this body to consider tabling the ordinance, forming the subcommittee with taking into consideration the minutes and all of the items that are brought forth at Monday's meeting, in addition to any others that council members may feel may be of interest to consider, to have the subcommittee review and come back with its findings, and any of those recommendations brought forth back in the form of ordinance.
Council President, before you move the motion to table, I need to make a comment, if you allow me.
Sure. Can we do it after the second so that we have a motion and then we'll have a second and then we can do comments?
So then councilman might consider not to table if you make a comment.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But we can still do it after the second because
But then you will end up doing the roll call.
no, we will have comments after the second.
The motion to table has been made.
We have to have a second.
Requires
Motion
a
made
second.
already?
Yeah.
I would like the motion to table, yes.
Second.
Council President, I think attorney,
Now we have a second. So
I asked the councilman, he said he would like to make the motion, so I didn't hear the word, I would like to move the motion to table this particular ordinance. He only gave the remark for the consideration. So please listen carefully, follow the process. That's the reason when Council President said, I would like to second, I said, before this happens, I would like to make the comment. And that's the reason
I'm sorry. I thought that was a motion, but go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman, for considering at least the forming the committee. But this committee will be only good if there are the proponent and the opponent of this ordinance are part of that subcommittee. If you're going to form the subcommittee, with all the yes votes, then technically you are kicking can down the road and there will not be any tangible impact to this ordinance. So my ask to councilman who is proposing to table and the council president, please consider the members who do not wish to support this ordinance to be part of that subcommittee. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Now, may I have a motion to table, as it was not recognized as such earlier?
Just a point of clarification, because I know technically with the table, there would be the motion for the subcommittee formulation that would be done
No,
afterwards.
so,
First, the motion to...
sorry, yeah, first you would make the motion to the table, right? The subject of the motion needs to be a very clear motion to the table. A secondary motion would then be made if that motion passes to form the subcommittee. That would be the proper order to do things.
With that, I will move to motion ordinance 2233-2024.
All right, I have a motion on the table by Councilman Pointer. May I have a second?
I enthusiastically second.
All right, and I have a second by Council Vice President. Any comments? Okay, may I have roll call?
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes to table.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes to table.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes to table.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes to table.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes to table.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes.
Now we want a motion to...
Motion to form a subcommittee. Do we have to list the members now? I am hoping that it will be chaired by Councilman Pointer, and I would like to include Council Vice President, as she is the opponent, and Councilman Shmuel as another member. So may I have a motion to form a subcommittee?
Motion to form a subcommittee.
Amen. All right, so motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Patil. Any comments? All right, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes for the committee.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. Okay, so ordinance 2233 is tabled, and we have a subcommittee formed to discuss that particular change and any other recommendations by any other council members that wish to inquire with the subcommittee.
Committee is
Chaired by John Pointer
Pointer,
and Margot Harris
Harris,
and
and Asaf.
Asaf.
Okay. Just want to make sure I got it right.
Thank you, Council President.
Of course. So that part's done. We got that part. All right, continuing on to the unfinished business. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2234.
An ordinance amending the Amboy Avenue redevelopment plan by modifying several sections in the overlay district pursuant to provisions of NJSA 48:12A-7.
Okay, this ordinance 2234 is open to the public if anybody would like to make a comment. All right, seeing none, motion to close the public portion.
Motion to close.
May I have a second?
Second.
Oh, one sec. So does someone want to speak? Okay, you can come on.
Thank you. Recognized?
Your name and address, please.
Artificial intelligence, location the matrix.
You are recognized.
Thank you. Ordinance 2. Point of order. What are you whispering about?
Sir, you are not recognized, please.
I speak for him.
The
Also.
point of order is to discuss the procedures. It is not to discuss.
You're whispering. Public meeting. It's a public meeting.
Please pause this time.
Point of order.
I
I'm
will ask-
calling it.
The council member asked me a question with respect to the procedure to allow what is currently occurring. It was a 3-sentence question that responded with a yes.
I'd like to know about it. I'd like to know about it.
Point of order. But
Councilman Patel?
Yep. Just want to make it clear, again, thank you, Guru. I have some patience here. My only the humble request is when I said this on Monday, when speaker is on the dais talking, please pay attention to no discussion among ourselves or no discussion with attorney, and also attorney should be talking. Thank you.
You can unpause this time. You're recognized.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Councilman Patil. Back to ordinance dot 234 dash 2024. How much time do I have, Marlena? 5 minutes. 5 minutes? Good. An ordinance amending the Amboy Avenue redevelopment plan by modifying sections in the overlay district pursuant to provisions of N dot J dot S dot A dot 40A 12A-7, period. How much time do I have left, Marlene? 4.5 minutes. I'm against this whole ordinance. I'm against everything having to do with the Clara Barton section. If I see something, an ordinance or any resolution for Amboy Avenue, or anything having to do with Clara Barton, I say give them nothing. They're stealing all the resources from this town. And I don't want them to have a redevelopment plan. I don't want them to have a plan that says they can build 4-story buildings. We can just leave the plan as it is right now. And through the chair to the lawyer, are we gonna have to spend an attorney? Are we gonna have to pay an attorney to come up with a new redevelopment plan?
Do you want an answer now, or do you want to wait until your time has
No, it's
has
either,
run out?
yeah, we're gonna pay an attorney or no, and then I'll move on from there. Is there any attorney costs associated with this ordinance?
I do not know specifically.
Do not know specifically? Well, I don't like it. I think it's rather strange. You guys, some people up there want to build 4-story buildings in Clara Barton, and all of a sudden, we're making new redevelopment plans. I don't like that. I think something's fishy going on. So anything having to do with Clara Barton, especially this ordinance, O.2234, I'm against it. And yeah, how much time do I have left, Marlena? 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes? I still have 2.5 minutes. That's beautiful. And yeah. The question of the council president, do you see any reason for this ordinance to go through?
I have given my reason in the past.
You gave your reason in the past? I haven't heard that reason. Would you like to tell me that reasoning? And for all the people that haven't heard that reasoning before, would you like to let us know what that might be?
No.
No? Okay. So you want to do something in secret, but you want me to be okay with it. That's exactly why I'm not okay with this ordinance, because you're not being transparent. You're acting rather fishy about it, and all I did was ask you is there one reason that you have for this ordinance? One good reason? I mean, do you think it'll benefit Clara Barton in any way? Think it'll, through the chair to Councilman Joe Coyle, you're a part of Amboy Avenue. Everything that goes on in Amboy Avenue has something to do with you. How much time do I have left, Marlena? Minute and a half. Yeah, that could be why Joe's recording at this moment in time, because he wants to record. It's an important thing for Amboy Avenue. He's from Amboy Avenue. Normally, he only records though when. Normally, he only records though when the cops are about to jump on me. So I find it. I got my red alert. Red flag already. So, yeah. What was the warning you get? 1 minute warning? Okay. So, yeah, I'm against this. I'm against this with my whole life force. Every atom in my body. okay? The atoms within the atom, which that's even smaller than the atom itself, is against this ordinance, 100%. And through the chair to Councilman Brescher. Councilman Brescher, are the atoms in your body against this ordinance? They're against. So, yeah, and my last question, since I still have time left, any council person can answer. Do they think there'll be any?
Thank you. Artificial intelligence. Anybody else that would like to speak? All right. May I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close public portion?
May I have? All right. That's a motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Patil. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any council comments?
Council President,
Yes.
this ordinance I do not support at all, and I'll give you some short reasons why. As we just spoke about this ordinance prior to this, about reserving the 4-minute, 6-minute rule, we're going into subcommittee. It's only fair to go as deep onto a marketing plan for Amboy Avenue as we would for the public's right to speak. I think members of this council worked very hard in a very short period on this. But I'd have to say it was worked in a silo. It was worked in, for the few people who came here, for them to be happy. And we just missed a lot of points that need to be done as a professional, with other professionals, to make sure we broaden our scope to make this ordinance complete once and forever. And each one of you know my personal feelings of it. And I've spent 30+ years on this block trying to improve it, to make it beautiful, from code enforcement to vandalism to graffiti to planting to helping market the block. I understand those who may not want a 4-story building, but are we listening to everyone? We're not. Are we listening to a few? Absolutely. And did we seek to involve other professionals? And the answer is no, we didn't. We didn't get involved with any other professionals to rewrite this ordinance or to cover some areas we may not have seen. Unforeseen or foreseen, we did it once over, we were pushing this through. And if this is passed, obviously I will support this council and their choices. I do not support this ordinance at all because we have a once in a lifetime change right now to make it right. And we're not doing that. We're just pleasing a few in the public, one resident who lives directly behind a Stewart's root beer stand who's upset, and he has the right to be. He doesn't want a building in front of his house. But when he chose to move there, that's a choice you make. I mean, you have a lot of alternates in Edison when you choose to buy a home. If you choose to buy a home behind a Stewart's root beer stand diner, expect to smell the trash, expect to have parking issues. It's a normal part of life where you move. You move by a train station, you're going to hear the train. And I'm not saying that person has not brought up other ideas that are good. But the fact is, it started from a personal point and it's carried to a very few amount of people, and it has not broadened its scope to the entire community, nor has it been diverse at all. We haven't included those who can't afford a place. We haven't included anybody from the college area. We haven't included a lot of factions of people. And I'm sad that we're just not waiting to do it right. And what is the rush? I mean, today, the votes are here on the council, with or without my support. Why not wait to do it right? And I'm going to keep it short. What this council chooses to do, they can. But no one on this dais has worked harder on this block and cared for more of this block. Three of us live in the area. And they both know the time and patience I put into the area. And I just care. What people choose, great. But is it going to be a marketing change? What is going to change by passing this today? Nothing is going to change, right? We built 2 buildings in 30 years, and we may have a third. We have one that's been approved for 2 years, hasn't even put a shovel in the ground. Fox & Fox has an approval 7 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, did not break ground ever. So I think there's a lot of parts to this ordinance that has not been thought out properly with professionals, and I'm saddened for that. and we're rushing for the few who show up to the microphone to change an entire community, and we did not weigh the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle.
Council President,
Council Vice President?
I wholeheartedly support this ordinance, and I'm not sure what Councilman Coyle would define as a few people, because I have heard from more than a few people from the Clara Barton section. And while this is not a perfect ordinance, they are, to use my favorite phrase again, they're willing to accept the fact that the perfect is not the enemy of the good. And they want this codified sooner than later. They are in a hurry to get this codified before more development continues to take place. So for that reason, I am wholeheartedly in favor of this ordinance. I will be voting yes.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Councilman Patel?
Thank you, Council President. I respect the opinion of my council colleague, but I wholeheartedly agree with my council vice president. This is not few people. I think, this topic specifically, Clara Barton, has been discussed 8+ months. There were several meetings with the neighborhood. There were several meetings internally. There were several phone calls. In fact, in one council meeting, I did ask Mr. Bignell to clarify if the master plan, which was just adopted, is inconsistent with this ordinance. He said yes. So if the master plan is adopted, I don't know what is the hesitation to comply and to move forward with this ordinance. Again, is the word is perfect? Absolutely not. And Councilman, we are on the dais for a long time. We all know that it's 8+ years. We are waiting for the redevelopment happening in Clara Barton section. We are at the peak of the real estate market, yet there is no movement, there is no development in Clara Barton. That shows that neighborhood is really not there for 4+ story buildings. So let's respect the opinion of the resident. Let's respect the opinion of the neighborhood and move forward. Again, I'll be open to update this ordinance down the line, but let's adopt what the ask is from the Clara Barton resident, and hence I'll be supporting this ordinance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Any other council members? Councilman Brusher?
Yes, I mean, I agree with my colleagues, actually all my colleagues up here on this, even my councilman next to me, when we talk about that area and not bringing everybody in. What we're doing today is we're doing this because the residents didn't want to have 4 stories. And this is not giving the residents what they asked for. I know it was presented as kind of like a little give and take on both sides, but if we look at this from a child, like my granddaughter who's 8 years old, and if I were to take her down to Clara Barton and she were to count and I tell her it's 3.5 stories, my granddaughter is gonna go, Papa, it's not 3.5 stories, there's 4 stories. And that's coming from a child's perspective. Coming from an adult perspective, I guess we could call it 3.5. So to me, this is still 4 stories. The whole area, I do have problems with the development plan that we have. Councilman Pointer sent me some information so I could look at it and try and decipher it. And it almost looks like a giant spot zone. So that's where I agree with my Councilman Coyle that I think it's not right. But being that no one's developing it when it was 2 stories and no one's developing it when it's 4 stories, I don't think it really matters if we actually modify it at this point, because the residents care about it and the residents don't want to see 4 stories. So because of that, the residents know I support what they're looking for in their communities and in their area, so I'll be voting yes on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher. Councilman Pointer?
Thank you, Council President. I know some of my colleagues disagree on the assessment of 3.5 and the 40 feet and the differences. I respectfully disagree. I first moved into Edison. I lived on 8 Orange Street. I lived on the 2nd floor, and outside of that, I had a deck. I was able to go outside, enjoy fresh air. So to me, that half story does have benefits for people like me who were introduced into Edison based on that type of style home. From there, I moved to Amboy Avenue. My address was actually 835 Amboy Avenue. So I'm not sure how many other people on the dais here can actually say their physical address was Amboy Avenue. But there, I lived right next to the firehouse, and I lived on the second floor with a half story above. And that half story above provided me the office space that I needed that helped my professional development. So I know some people will view that as, hey, the height is still 40 feet, but the differences between the half story and the full story, I believe, are extremely beneficial to the overall density that could occur on Amboy Avenue. In terms of the subcommittee being formed versus not, to reiterate my point before, changing council protocol is written specifically in our ordinance. It does not state anything about having to have a subcommittee for any other legislation that we put forward. To me, that is a distinction. In regards to not bringing everyone in, respectfully, a redevelopment plan, how we normally do it, is specific to a certain lot. This is an entire avenue. So what may fit at a 200-foot wide block may not fit on a 100-foot wide, may not work on a 50-foot wide. So if we are going to have more appropriate development, then yes, I do believe we should be more specific on individual lots, and then let the businesses and the commerce say, hey, this doesn't work. Would you think, would you consider this? The modifications that are included, to me, set up the right environment for development. And truthfully, if these were the guidelines that were in place in 2016, and this council at that time had listened to the suggestions of the residents, in my opinion, a Cello's building would have actually been developed lot to lot instead of ending up being subdivided as it was, which was not the intention of the redevelopment plan. I've taken consideration from businesses, I've taken consideration from residents, I've worked diligently in researching every zoning block on Amboy Avenue, and it is in my heart of hearts that this is the proper environment moving forward for Amboy Avenue. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Any other council members? All right, seeing none.
Council President,
Councilman Coyle.
I just can't help but to echo a comment from my council vice president. And again, I only say what's a fact. I'm quite certain people spoke to people, but most of the people spoke to were 50 years plus. And that's not fair to not include others as part of this. And that's a fact. If you can provide me the list of who you spoke to, I'm open to it any day. But when you circle a bunch of round tables of senior citizens who don't want any change, that's not enough. And yes, they matter. Senior citizens matter to be a part of this. Those 50 plus matter. But tell me who you spoke to under 50 that's going to be part of seeing this change, right? Very few. And this is being mentioned today. It's being changed today for the few who came to this room, okay? No one went down to Camelot where there's a 224-unit building and asked anybody there, what do you think? Because I met with people from that area, and they'd like to see some changes. The facts are the facts. You listen to the people who don't want it, okay? And that's it. And if you can provide me that list, Council Vice President, who you spoke to, I'm open to see that list. But if it's the same list that one of our residents has, it's a list of everybody who's 50 plus, okay? And it does not include everyone. So I leave it there and just prove any factual statement to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Oh, sorry. I thought we did. Oh, no.
No, you didn't. No motion to
All right, can I get a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt?
Second.
All right, motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Pointer. And I will take roll call.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
No.
Council President Patel.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the closed session. May I get a motion to go into the closed session?
Motion to go into closed session?
May I have a second? closed session.
Second.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Pointer, second by Councilman Patil. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this council will continue after we finish the closed session.
Councilman Brescia, would you like to join my revolution? All you have to do is go like this. See my magic? You want to join us? I won't make you drink the Kool-Aid.
All right. May I have a motion to return from closed session?
Motion to return from closed session?
May I have a second? All right, that's motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Patil. All in favor? Aye. All right, the motion, the council has returned to session. Moving on to number 8, new business. Proposed ordinance for public hearing set down for Wednesday, October 9th. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 2235.
An ordinance amending Chapter 37 entitled zoning, Section 61.3, entitled outdoor lighting of the Code of the Township of Edison.
All right, may I have a motion to introduce?
Council President,
Yes.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, October 9, 2024.
Second.
All right, that's motion by Councilman Patil, second by Council Vice President. Any council comments? All right, seeing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. All right, moving on to ordinance 2236. Madam Clerk, please read the ordinance.
An ordinance repealing ordinance 2215-2024 and restoring Chapter 17 to its pre-amendment state.
Okay, I will leave it to the council as to what they would like to do with this ordinance. If they want to introduce, table it till November, up to you guys.
I'd move this ordinance to be passed on the first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for October 9th.
May I have a second? Okay, so this motion fails. May I have another motion, either table? Can we do it a motion to table, right?
Yes.
Motion to table?
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, that's a motion to table by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Pointer. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Oh, council, do it.
You should probably set a date for, you should probably set a date for this on the motion to table so that you actually have, I don't know the exact date in the council
What is
meeting that
the
you want to put it
first-
to.
October 9, 2024 to table.
You just, 2 weeks? Yep, 2 weeks.
Okay, so,
Here's your October 22nd, 23rd.
October 9th.
they chose October 9th. So,
October 9th?
we're going to motion to table this to October 9th, and we have a second.
October 9th.
All right, Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Oh, actually, do we get comments on the table? Or, no, right, because we're tabling. Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Motion for table is without discussion.
Okay.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Yes, you said?
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes,
So it is tabled to October 9th.
yes. All right, just to, before we open it up to the public comments on the resolutions, remember, Resolution 575 is removed from the agenda. Now,
Council President?
so,
Just a
Councilman
point
Pointer.
of clarification. I just want to make sure. So that is the Alzheimer's?
Yes.
one? All right, thank you.
Okay, so this will be open to the public to speak on any of the proposed resolution. Anybody that would like to speak?
Joy Ship,
You're recognized.
576 on the Jackson Avenue Rehabilitation Center, because I spoke to people and I were in different meetings and stuff with them before. I just wanted to know if the people who live on that street do not want their street wide and they don't want all these trucks coming up their street, why are we pushing forward with this? And part two, if we're so interested in rehabbing, we should do Grove Avenue. That leads to the hospital and other places. I think that's a bigger priority than Jackson Avenue. I just don't understand why we're doing this if the residents are against it. So, because they tell them it makes it feel like nobody cares about anything they say, so why bother even coming? So I guess you'll get a lesser crowd after a while. Thank you.
Okay, I will Councilman Pointer, would you like to discuss it now, or do you want to wait till later?
It's published time.
Okay, that's fine.
Artificial intelligence.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Okay. I'm against every single one of these resolutions. Every single one of them. Except R571. Reappointment of Gary Price as municipal court judge. Gary Price was a fair judge. Thanks to Judge Price, I beat the predator catcher case. And he didn't harass me and give me a hard time as many others wanted him to do. Through the chair to Councilman Richard Brescher. Point of order, Councilman Coyle is speaking, and it's a public. I want to know what he's speaking about during the public's time. It can't be secretive. But through the chair to Councilman Brescher, in regards for Judge Price, I'm happy that we're going to reappoint Judge Price. But I want to see him as the head of the court. I don't want Judge Didia to be the head of the court. I don't think we should just stop at bringing Judge Price back. I think we should reappoint his original position when he was the head of the Edison court. And yeah. So how much time do I have left? God bless Judge Gary Price. Judge Gary Price is the reason why I'm able to use social media again, because he dismissed that bullshit case that Edison Police Department did against me. And yeah, God bless Judge Price. Long life to Judge Price. Every atom in my body loves Judge Price. Not in a P. Diddy way, but in a brotherly way. So yeah, how much time do I have left on my?
3.5 minutes.
So this township filed maliciously falsified police reports in order to maliciously prosecute me. And at the end, Judge Price threw it all away. He said, not in his courtroom. So I'm very, very happy about that. I don't know why they dropped the charges of the child predators first, though. It seems the United States of America, child predators get a lot of leniency.
Point of order.
I'm talking about in regards to R571 and Judge Price and how he dropped my case and how the township dealt with the charges that were put on me. So yeah, you guys maliciously falsified police reports in order to maliciously prosecute me, and Judge Gary Price had the integrity to dismiss that case. Do you hear that? Through the chair to Deputy Chief Dudash. So the very same news articles in which you helped slander my name all these years, Judge Price dismissed the case. And it wasn't just only because there was no victim, and it wasn't just because the complainant didn't show up. The cop was never gonna show up. So that was their way to save face. Not allowing it to go to trial, they just dismissed it. And how much time do I have left?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. God bless Judge Gary Price. God bless his whole family. God bless his whole ancestral line. And yeah. Through the chair to Councilman Brescher, I really do think we need to, if we can't remove Judge Didia at this moment, she's the head of the Edison court, we should at least put Judge Price, someone with more experience, more integrity, and doesn't have a conflict of interest when trying cases. But yeah. Is there any other judges on this list? Just Judge Gary Price? How much time do I have left?
Minute and 17 seconds.
Minute and 17 seconds. So yeah. Through the chair to Deputy Chief Dudash. So thanks to Judge Gary Price, nobody in the state of New Jersey, nobody in the world can no longer slander me with the hit piece that you did and that Suzanne Russell spread all about. Everyone knows case got dismissed. He wasn't supposed to dismiss it this soon, but he dismissed it. I do got my rights back, as you can all see. And, yep. I know many people on the council, along with Mayor Sam Joshi, are part of the conspiracy, and Judge Price helped alleviate some of that burden. John's dying to call a point of order. He's waiting for it. How much time do I have left?
Seconds.
17 seconds?
7 seconds.
7 seconds? It bothers you that you got to listen to me for 6 minutes? It bothers you,
Time's up.
doesn't it?
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak on the resolutions?
Akhtar Nasser, Pleasant Avenue.
You're recognized.
I don't really have much to say. We know that I live on Amboy Avenue. I have listened to the Jackson Avenue people speak, and we have heard even on Monday that there was one resident that came here, and she was actually able to use a rebuttal, so I was happy about that. They do not want that to happen. I heard many of you on the dais also agree that this shouldn't happen, so I'm hoping that you will vote no on this. I think that the idea that she has is a one way is a good idea, but I do know that there may be potential issues with the trucks. I think that if we go ahead and widen it, there will be speeding. It's only for a short time frame that this issue exists. So I don't know that we should be spending money on that particular area. I think that I've heard that Grove Avenue might actually be a better place, or there are plenty of other places that might be a better place. I think the better idea would be to try to figure out how we can get rid of the trucks from that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak on the ordinance? I'm sorry, resolution, sorry, resolutions. All right, seeing none, may I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
May I have a second?
Second.
That's a motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Council Vice President. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anything to pull for a separate vote from any council members?
Council President?
Yes. 565, I need to have removed from that any payments to Vision Media until we get, well, I'll talk about it later. And 576.
576. Okay. And anybody else?
Council President, I was going to also pull 576.
All right. Okay, so we have 565 by Councilman Brusher and R 576 by Councilman Brusher and Councilman Pointer. So the consent agenda will be 566 through 574, 577 to 586. May I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
That's a motion by Councilman A.G. Patil, second by Council Vice President. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
This is for everything but the two, yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. All right, so starting with Resolution 565. Councilman Brusher.
Yes, 565, our disbursements, we had this, I call it political mail or whatever it was that my council colleague brought up, that went out that said, we're paving your 200 roads, and 5 council people did it, right? But I believe those roads were the ones that actually 7 council people voted to do it. So I think it's misinformation. I believe it's politics. I think it's using taxpayer funds for politics. So I don't want to authorize any payments moving forward to Vision Media until we get all the answers that my council colleague asked for from the administration. So I'd like to just vote no on Vision Media, any of their payments. That's my
So
ask.
I just want to clarify with legal, I think there might be a way to do that.
I think this was the discussion we were having the other night, where Councilman Patil specified that we can, in fact, remove specific disbursements from the list. But I'm getting a head shake from the business administrator that we can't do that.
It's my understanding you can't remove one item from the bill list.
Okay.
What you have.
Multiple times. And in fact, the current mayor himself has pulled this. So if his administration is saying he cannot, then what he did was wrong.
I'm not speaking for him, for myself, but if that is incorrect,
Yep. Again, I've been here for 9 months, so I don't have the history on that. If that is within the council procedures and something that the council has done in the past, I think that they can do so.
Okay. So,
Council President,
yeah, Councilman Coyle.
I just want the council to keep in mind, I understand the purpose of moving forward, but those who are on the bill list have already completed their work. So by not paying this bill, it's a bill that's for services that were rendered already. I just want to make that, I understand the condition my colleague wants, but the services have been provided. Thank you.
Council President, Councilman Coyle, do you agree with the letter that was distributed on Monday? Do you agree with spending taxpayers' money on the letter that was distributed on to this council?
I'm not here to debate about
No,
your.
do you agree, yes or no?
I'm not going to sit here and debate. I'm just clarifying the work's been completed. Anything we pull, it's work that was completed.
I understand that, but
Justifying one letter over 6 months' worth of work and to pull an entire bill, that's your opinion. I'm not saying you can't do this. I'm just clarifying, work's been completed. If you pull anything that's on a list, it's work that's been completed.
it's not paid yet.
Okay. So what can we do in this case?
Well, Council President, quick question though too. With this, Councilman Coyle said that the work was done, right? But I think Councilman Patil asked for a list of all of this at our Monday night's meeting. I don't know, did you receive a list and a breakdown? So typically when council people, before this council got elected, okay, in the prior councils, and Councilman Coyle was part of that, when a councilman requested information and did not receive the information, it was a customary courtesy for the other council members to support them in voting no, right, until the administration can get that information to them. Councilman Coyle was here for years for that. So I know it's been a past practice of ours, but that's a courtesy
So
amongst
let me
council people.
just ask the council as to how we can approach this dilemma.
What you're effectively asking to do is amend the resolution on the floor to remove the payments to Vision Media prior to voting on the disbursements. That's effectively what you're asking to do.
So can we get the motion as such?
A motion to amend the resolution to remove those payments to Vision Media prior to voting on the resolution.
Councilman Brescher, would you like to motion that?
Madam Clerk, would you specifically, tell them the language that has to be said, just so, because you've done this before?
Yeah, I think what has been done before, we remove that one item on the bill list and approve the rest of the bill list because you don't want to hold up
Yeah.
those people. So if you only want to hold up one, am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what we've
we
done.
have done it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to,
Councilman Pointer?
Sorry, I don't want to.
believe we're going to, you want to approve the bill list without Vision Media and take them off the bill list to be paid until he gets his information.
Yes.
Okay.
So what you're asking.
Council
President,
President,
can
this
we-
is what I was going to say.
Can we vote for the
So,
bill? Can we separate the vote and vote for the bill list and then
Yes,
Didn't have a separate
it's
vote
called
for
the
that.
division of the question. Any resolution that's before us, we had the opportunity to take specific items from that and move it to a separate resolution. So my opinion would be to separate those two line items, that's what I see at least. Have that as a separate resolution and vote on the remaining of the disbursements. How you number that, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
that to me is
So-
at least the process.
We can just, can we,
Okay, so based on past practices, based on what your recollection of what occurs is, and Councilman Pointer's recommendation for a division of the question, the motion would be to essentially approve the bill list except for or without Vision Media payments. Those Vision Media payments would become the subject of a separate resolution for consideration and voting as it divides the question, right? And then
Council President,
vote yes or no on that separate resolution, so that would get a new number for the resolutions, and that would have to be drawn up by the clerk after the meeting.
okay, so,
That's like way too confusing. I mean, can I just, if I'm wrong, please can't correct me, Council President. I think my colleague wants to do a vote removing the media company from the bill list. That's what's on the floor, and that's the motion. If that motion fails, we're then going to vote for the full bill list. I'm thinking that could be the order, Councilman Pointer. And then we're done.
Yeah,
We-
that's fine.
So rather than, we don't have to create a resolution,
that's fine,
if that's okay, Counselor.
that's fine.
Sorry, I was running through it in the event that that passed.
Okay, no problem.
So,
Okay, so you want to take the motion to remove
two.
Vision Media from the bill list?
Yes.
Council President?
Motion on the table, please.
Councilman Pointer?
I was going to make a comment on it, but on the disbursement, if that's okay.
If you want, yeah, you're more than welcome to.
I understand what my colleague is saying. The payments that are here are for April and August. I asked my colleague when the mailer went out. That was May, June, and July. So these months that are before us aren't within that particular item. And my understanding in regards to what they do relates to the newsletter and the online emails, not direct communications from the mayor. I believe that there's a separate position under communications that handles that. I may be inaccurate, but that's my understanding, and that those communication bills would be under a separate line item. So that's why I'm not in
Council
favor of that,
President?
but.
Yeah, I think there's some confusion. Councilman Pointer, the real point here, right, is that we have certain objections to something that happened. We believe it to be Vision Media. That information, the BA was going to get to Councilman Patil. The point is that Councilman Patil did not get the information yet, and that's the reason to hold this. Now, you could be correct, it could be somebody else, but if we would have received that information, right, we would have known, right? He would have known, and we would probably be okay. And maybe we just would have voted no on that. So that's really the point here is, you know, when a council person, you know, asks for information on a Monday and they don't get it on a Wednesday, right? That's the main issue. That became the main issue right now. I mean, moving forward, you know, we're going to talk about the mayor and him spending township money on his political campaign, right, on multiple things. It's going to be something that's going to come up over the next year. But for right now, this is just like a procedural thing because my council colleague didn't receive the information yet.
Councilman Brescher, I would ask you to motion to separate out resolution, hold on,
565.
565, to remove Vision Media,
Remove Vision Media.
and then I will need a second for that. Okay,
Council
so,
President, before he makes that motion, I just want a clarification,
yes.
so I'll know how to vote on this. This is a vote for services rendered, previously services rendered, not future services. So they already did the work, they're looking to get paid, and Councilman Brescher wants to bar them from getting paid.
And use this as a leverage.
Got it.
No, all right.
Council President, I wouldn't go that route. That's not the case. This council has an we control, this body controls the spending in the town, not the mayor. We own the budget, the council owns the budget. So before spending anything, this has to come to this body, and this body has to approve. This is about the disbursement in the sense the services rendered, which is your right. But if something has done wrong, then we need to put the brake for the future. For that purpose, we need that information before releasing the payment. So ask is just defer this for the subsequent month or maybe subsequent council meeting. We are not saying don't pay for the services rendered, but let's get the detail of what the services are rendered under those two line items that you see in the disbursement report, and maybe next council meeting, once we get all the information, we release the payment. So this body can again come back and say, hey, we pay for it. It's not there. We are not saying don't pay.
Stop the discussion at this point, and I will take a motion. So do you have a motion to make?
Yes, I have a motion to pull 565 and pull out Vision Media onto a separate resolution, and we will vote on 565 without that. That's my motion.
All right, that's a motion by Councilman Brescher to,
Clarification, it's yes to pull, no to not pull. What is?
Yeah, it is yes. No, that is not the motion that Councilman Brescher made. Councilman Brescher made the motion to pull Vision Media from 565 and place it onto a separate resolution. After that, so that everyone's clear, after that, we would still have to have a motion to accept 565 without Vision Media.
Understood.
And then we would have to have a motion to vote on Vision Media resolution to pay them or not, assuming that Councilman Brescher's motion passes. So right now, the motion that has been made, if you vote yes, then the Vision Media payments will be removed from 565 for a separate vote.
So, Council President, if we vote yes to separate that part of the disbursement, when would we be voting on a new resolution?
right after. It'll be a new resolution R587 if we pass this resolution.
Okay.
All right, so that's a motion by Councilman Richard Brescher to separate from Resolution 565 the Vision Media. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All right, another second by Councilman Patil. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
No.
Councilmember Harris.
No.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
No.
Council President Patel.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4 noes.
Okay, and so that fails. Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 565?
Motion to,
Wait, I'm confused now.
So the
Bill list didn't pass at all?
No. That was
Just
not what
that-
the motion was about.
The
So-
motion was to separate the Vision Media from Resolution 565, and that was seconded by Councilman Patel, and that failed. Now we are going to vote on
It's
Resolution,
only separated, it's got nothing to do with the rest of
nothing.
the list.
So now we're just voting on R 565 as is. So may I get a motion to accept Resolution 565?
motion to approve?
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, so that's a motion by Council Vice President, second by Councilman Pointer.
To
Madam,
approve the whole bill list.
yeah, 565.
Okay.
And Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
No.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes.
So now there is no separate vote.
All right, Councilman Brescher,
There's no separate vote.
no, we're done.
Bill was approved.
Moving on to Resolution 576, I believe.
Yes.
Can I let Councilman Pointer take the lead on this one?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilman Brescher. I'm actually asking that this resolution be tabled for tonight. My reasoning to me is simple. I made a commitment to the residents last year that when this grant comes back up, if it were, that I would notify them. That they would be notified of any action that this council takes because of the scope of work that's involved. Let me be honest, I understand the concern in regards to widening the street. In my opinion, the current condition of the street and the curbs on the properties, that widening is going to happen regardless or not. I've seen it, I've actually seen houses that have pushed over so that they can move their car already over to provide safety. And if you go down Jackson Avenue on the left-hand side, immediately there, there's not even grass on the right-of-way, it's just straight pavement. But with that said, it is important for us as a body, as an administration, as a township, to have these communications with the residents. So my request to Council President was that we utilize our communication funds in the council budget to send out a notice to the residents that this is up for consideration. Now, I did speak with the mayor earlier, and he is sending out a mailer with the grant information on it so that every resident on Jackson Avenue is aware of the proposed work. I think that is what's fair to get proper feedback from the residents. It's right for us as a body to communicate with the residents. And with that, that is why I'm asking that this be pulled from tonight's vote and I guess tabled to the next meeting on October 9th.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Sonia?
Sure, I just wanted to confirm Councilman Pointer's sentiment on this, and he is correct in that I think it would be appropriate we do a mailer, and I appreciate working with him on that. So we'll communicate and send you exactly what we're going to supply to the residents so that you are aware, along to the council, so that you know what information is being provided to the residents. So thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right, so with that said, I'm hoping I can get a motion. Oh, Councilman Patel.
Thank you, Council President. But what I heard on Monday night, Sonia, you said you have taken the feedback from the residents and the parents, and that's the reason this is on the agenda. What I
We
hear
have,
now.
yes, and I have the documentation to support it, but Councilman Pointer's point is valid, and that we send out a letter to all residents.
Right. Do you mind sharing, I will fully support in pulling this because we need to hear resident, but I want what you said Monday night, I need the backup that you received the feedback from the residents. I would like to see who you spoke, from where you got the feedback, and let's validate that so that, we can cross-check that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you,
Council
Councilman Patel. Councilman Brescher.
Yes. If anybody watched Monday night's meeting, it was apparent that no one notified the residents. So what I did was I promised to go out and speak to the residents. I went out and I walked on every house on Jackson Avenue. I spoke to people. If I didn't speak to them, I left my card. I asked them to call me. People did call. Out of that, I want to let the council know and the administration what their feelings are. They said a council person did come by a year ago or so, told them that they were going to do something, didn't specify what would be done, never came back. The council or administration never notified them. I told them that it's not the council's job. This is the mayor's job to go out to the residents and explain to these residents what's going on. Us as council people, this is not what our job is, but it's something that we do to try and help the mayor. In the survey that I did, there was one, I'm going to call it an abstain. That person is renting and she's moving. There were 3 yeses that they would like to see the street widened. There were 14 no's. Do not widen the street. What they told me was they wanted to know what was wrong with the elected officials in Edison. What they specifically told me, 3 people, was you're going to widen our street, you're going to make the trucks drive faster. And the one gentleman, as we said this, the truck was driving down the street at 40 miles an hour. And everybody knows Jackson, it's a tiny road. He goes, and then after you go spend $5 or $10 million to move all the telephone poles and move all of the water services and replace the curbs and then build up the road so it can handle the support of the trucks. After you guys spend all of this money, you understand we're going to come to your council chambers and tell you that the traffic on this road is going too fast and you move the trucks closer to our house. With that said, they said we have poor communication. And the other thing that they were very disappointed in was our enforcement. They said that this township has laws, but we don't enforce the laws. They appreciate our police department because when they call and they say that we have speeders, they do send out a traffic unit, and that does happen. The part that bothers them the most is that they call every few months to the police department to tell them that people are speeding. And they'd like to know why our police department can't have this on a regular basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, where they go all the time to do enforcement down there at different times. And it's a valid question. And they would like to hear, and he'd like the elected officials to hear what they're actually looking for. So they do want their street done. They do want curbs. They'd like their sidewalks done. They'd like trees replanted. They'd like it to look nicer. That's 100%. They don't want the trucks closer to their home. And that was the main takeaway out of the 14 people that said, I don't want the street widened. The people up towards the corner had a concern that the restaurant, we wouldn't take part of their property, and then we would take double the amount from the people across the street, because there's a restaurant on the corner that's probably 5 feet from the street. So if you take 2 feet away, the Ferraro's restaurant, I think, has almost like a drive-up window that you could pull up and get it out their window. So there was that takeaway that they've spoken to our elected officials, and we don't listen to them. What we did was we created a traffic study and said, make the road wider, and that's not what the people were asking for, except for the 3. And out of the 3, just to let everybody know, 1 yes and 1 no came from the same house, right? Husband said yes, wife said absolutely no. We have children and we have pets. That's my report on this, Council President.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Councilman Brusher.
Council President,
Councilman
I
Pointer.
just want to make just one statement, because I'm the one that met with the residents last year. Councilwoman Freeman, you were at the meeting as well, and I think you can attest that I stayed at length, reviewed all the items regarding what was being proposed, and spoke with the residents directly. So to say that a council member went out and didn't speak specifics, I disagree. Thank you, Council President.
Council President, just real quick. Councilman Porter, I didn't make this up. I'd ask you to go over there. You can go through the residents and you can say, did anybody say that, I came out here and then I never came back and communicated what we were doing here, and all of a sudden you guys are doing something? If you ask the residents that, that's what they're going to tell you. Their disappointment was that we did this and we didn't go back to them. That's what their disappointment was.
I will take a motion to table as, if someone wants a motion to table, I will take a motion to table and I'll take a second.
Motion to table?
May I have a second?
Second.
I got a motion from Councilman A.J. Patil, second by Councilman Pointer. Madam Clerk, do you want a specific date that you want to table this to?
2 weeks. Yeah, same 2 weeks, 9th
October 9th.
October 9.
Okay, so we're motion to table this to October 9th, and a second by Councilman Pointer. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes, to table.
Councilmember Coyle.
No to table.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes to table?
Councilmember Patil.
Yes to table.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shmuel.
Yes.
Council President Patel.
Yes. So that Resolution 576 is tabled to October 9th. Moving on to number 11, communication. May I have a motion to accept?
And then I'm going to go to the residents again and ask them if they want.
Yeah. Can I get a motion to accept?
Joe?
Can I get a motion to accept the communication?
Motion to accept the communication?
May I have a second?
Second.
That's a motion by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Pointer. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving to number 12, oral petitions and remark. Going from the list. First up, Walter Stoschel.
Walter Stoschel, 2118 Oak Tree Road.
You're recognized.
I'm going to speak about the ordinance that you just tabled tonight. I object to this ordinance that reduces the time the public can speak at a council meeting from 6 minutes to 4 minutes. The council should reject this ordinance. I went to my first council meeting in 1986 to see why the township was selling so much township-owned land for development. I do not recall if there was any limits to the public's comment then. The meeting started at 8. There was no cable TV coverage. To find out what happened, you had to go and read the 3 newspapers that covered the meeting. The council work sessions were held in the back room at a conference tables with 6 seats for the public on the side. The public did not get to speak and did not get to know what was on the agenda until that meeting. And the mayor would attend both the council meeting and the work session. At the times, the meetings were not well attended. People like Jane Tausman, Dee Bruguiere, and others from the League of Women Up Voters, along with Carl Kovach, attended these meetings and got to speak. And maybe around Election Day, a few Republicans would show up and speak. More people began to attend and speak in 1988 with overdevelopment and increasing taxes activating the people. Over the next 10 years, the council meetings were a hotbed of discussion over local issues, meetings full of interesting give and take from both political parties as the control of the council changed hands. Questions were asked, answers were given, issues were raised, and situations exposed. People spoke a number of times on different issues at the meetings, and sometimes the meetings went to midnight. During that time period, the watchdogs of the communities attended and spoke out at council, planning board, zoning board, library board, and housing authority meetings. In the 1990s, the cable TV started covering the meetings, and the council changed the time to 7 p.m. In the 2000s, they added the sign-in sheet, limited speakers from speaking more than once, and created a comment period during the work session that was now being held in the council chambers. Since 1986, I've seen thousands of people speak before this council, and only a handful abused the opportunity. Most of those people were not trained public speakers and needed 6 minutes to present their comments or concerns or issues before the council. There are also issues and ordinances that come before the council that will take more than 6 minutes to comment on. The council is going to be reviewing and adopting the new zoning ordinance to implement the new goals of the master plan. This may be over 100 changes, and it'll be hard enough to comment on 6 minutes, never mind in 4. Imagine a grandmother speaking about a zoning change that will affect her house and her neighborhood and getting cut off at 4 minutes, while the next speaker will be a high-priced lawyer for a developer with his comments. Will he get cut off at 4 minutes too? Over the years, many council members started out as residents speaking at these meetings, many using their full 6 minutes. The ordinance only limits public comment, not council comment. Over the years, I have seen many council members drone on and on about subjects, beating so many dead horses that we could have a whole herd of them. If the problem is a few people monopolizing the time, 6 minutes, preventing others from staying and speaking, then the council can remove the signage sheet and have the council president use discretion on who speaks first. The council also could position a clock so the speakers could see how much time they had. The New York Times recently reported that 58% of the ballot races in our country have no opposition on the ballot and question whether our democracy is declining. Efforts by political forces to limit public comment and participation also has a negative effect on our democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Walt. Arthur Milstein.
Arthur Milstein, 4 Comstock Road.
You're recognized.
So I've been here a couple times about the sidewalks in the town. Someone at the last meeting, they mentioned that they need to get legal comments about it. So my question is, what's going on with it? Because when I had problems 5 years ago, I got a notice on my door because my neighbor complained, said, fix it, 30 days. Now, I almost flipped my son, and I did what the town said. I did all the proof, I did the surveying, and now nothing's happening. I know there's the American Disabilities Act where it needs to be maintained for that. And I see the ramps to go up on the sidewalks, but I haven't seen anyone in a wheelchair use the sidewalks. They're always in the street. It's just not safe. Now, I watched the work session from last night, and I saw there was 3 options, but those 3 options seem like that it's for new sidewalks, not for existing sidewalks. So I'm trying to get clarification on that. And then you mentioned about the survey to prioritize, prioritize what needs to be done, but it seems like that is for, the homeowner has to pay it. What is prioritizing? Homeowner pays it. There's no priority. They just have to pay it. So I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen with this.
Thank you, Arthur. I think, Sonia, the question here is why are we not citing residents that don't have an appropriate sidewalk?
So we do cite folks. We did get his suggestions with regard to some of the sidewalks. That was then submitted to our staff. Certainly follow up on those particular items, but I think the conversation we had on Monday was about the larger picture of what the initiative is looking like, which would affect some of,
I think, and he
some of this.
understands that the conversation we had on the work session was about the larger picture, but I think his concern specifically is he has a particular spot that his child almost tripped in, and he wants to ensure that the sidewalks that he walks on are safe. And I believe in our ordinance calls for citations for the
Yeah,
particular
that's what I'm just
situation.
asking for, because the town told me, just where you walk, cite down. So I cited from my house on Comstock up to the little playground near the train station, and then to CVS, and then around my block. So I just cited each house. I took photos where you can trip. So, and I gave the photos, the addresses, so you don't need to do a survey. I've already done the survey for that. So it's just go to these houses. It doesn't cost the town a penny because it's not the town's payment. Go to resident, put a thing on their door saying, fix your sidewalk, it's dangerous. That's all anyone needs to do, and it's dangerous. I mean,
I agree.
if my son, he was 16 months old, if I didn't have a tight grip on the stroller, he would have face planted on the sidewalk, and it'd be a different story then. So,
I agree. Thank you for bringing this up.
Thank you.
And Sonia, please follow up on this. Thank you. Okay, next person, artificial intelligence.
That's the name my programmer gave me. Thank you. Thank you.
Your address,
The Matrix.
you're recognized.
Thank you. Through the chair to Councilman Brescher. Councilman Brescher, I really don't understand why it matters if services are rendered. The police officers also rendered their services, and they're going to get paid a different way. If Vision Media Marketing should be getting paid through Sam Joshi's election fund, I really don't understand why none of them separated the bill. I don't think they know the difference between what Sam Joshi's election fund's supposed to pay for and what the township's supposed to pay for. So I'm a little bit disgusted at that. It just seems to me Sam Joshi has new people in his pocket. In regards to the speaking time, you guys already tried to do this one time before. In fact, the last time you guys did this through the chair to Councilman Brescher, the last time they did this, Mayor Sam Joshi put it up on his Facebook page. He insinuated two people made racist and sexist remarks they never made. Suzanne Russell then ran with that false narrative, and a lot of residents were pretty angry at me and started threatening my life. So that all because of you guys. Sam Joshi wants to remove the minute time because it's election season. He doesn't want to be criticized. And let's call a spade a spade. But I want to talk about, how much time do I have left?
4 minutes.
I want to talk about my new religion, okay? And I want to talk about the treatment that I have received since the new religion. They're violating my rights. They're harassing me. Every time the council president unlawfully removes me from in this room, the police think they have the right to trespass me from the complete police property. You saw the video. Completely illegal to refuse to take my IA complaint on police property, no less. And then they threaten me with arrest if I stay on police property to make a report. So one day someone's gonna die, and I'm gonna need police assistance, and they're gonna say, no, we can't assist you because this guy's running a meeting at that moment in time? I'm a little bit disgusted in that. How much time do I have left?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. You don't respect the First Amendment. Obviously you don't respect people's religion. to the lawyer. I'm going to speak to the lawyer now. I did the first tort claim. I'm going to do the second tort claim, the third tort claim, the fourth tort claim. Today's no doubt going to be the fifth tort claim. Let's bump it up to 150,000 through the chair to Councilman Brescher. If each incident's going to be between $25,000 to $30,000 and that's minimum, let's bump it up to $150,000. How much time do I have left?
2.5 minutes.
So I want to advertise my religion out there for anyone that might want to join my religion. The lawyer said yesterday to AJ Benz, it's your First Amendment right to advertise something, even like a tax travel business. So I want to promote my religion. Anybody can become a part of it. It only requires one thing: to buy a mask, okay? And to put how much time do I have left? 2 minutes? All it requires you to do is to buy this mask right here and to put it on. And before I put on this mask, through the chair to Councilman Brescher, a few years ago, Governor Murphy talked about flattening the curve, and people are starting to get COVID again. So that's why another reason why I wear the mask. And sometimes I get really scared of germs, okay? And when that happens, I just mask up.
Marlena, please pause this time.
No, unpause my time. Unpause my time.
Yeah, go ahead. Please.
Can I kick this person AI out based on the mask?
Again, the determination that was made by this council is that when he approaches the podium and he addresses the council, right, he cannot be wearing a costume mask during that time. The health and safety mask that he purports to wear is fine. That's why he claims to wear this. Once you began removing him from the council chambers, that is when every other rationale under the sun came out. So if, as a matter of decorum, you believe that it is disrespectful to the council for him to continuously don a costumed mask in order to address this council, that's your prerogative as the chair to make that determination. Once again, it would be a warning, it would be a forfeiture of time, and then it would be removal if he refuses to concede the point at that point.
Council President, just point of order. The attorney said that this council.
Sorry, I misspoke. I apologize, Mr. Councilman Brescher.
It wasn't me. I know that. I'm on it.
That's acknowledged.
You can continue as long as you have the mask off. If you put on the mask, I will.
So is it the council or not? Because I'm confused.
You can continue as time.
So the
floor
council
is
did
yours.
or did? There's a rule or there's not a rule? From now on, Marlena, please do not pause my time. Lozman versus Rivera, it's illegal to pause time. If my time ever gets paused again, I don't want to put you in my tort claim, but I'm going to have to put you in my tort claim. You said, how much time do I have left?
Minute and 11 seconds.
You said that the council approved it. He said no council approved it. At the end of the day, I just want everyone to know, if you want to join my religion, a brand new religion,
Speaker is 1 minute.
you just have to do this. And it helps reduce
Marlena,
COVID.
pause this time.
You flatten the
Sir,
curve.
you will have to remove your mask if you want to continue.
Lozman versus Rivera.
Or
can't
I will
hear
have
through
to
the
ask you to
mask. My
leave.
time's still going. I
I'm
can't
sorry.
hear through the mask. I'm sorry.
Sir, please sit down.
This is what protects me. Is
Officer-
my time still going, Marlena? So as long as my time's still going, I'm going to continue speaking. Now that the officers approach me, this mask helps because they might have the COVID germs. They're touching people all day.
Council President, we have to ask you to leave, okay, sir?
You're asking me to leave?
Yes, sir.
I'm just looking to make sure I don't leave any stuff over there. All right, another court claim, you're a piece of shit, Councilman. You're a piece of shit.
All right, sorry about that. Let's continue. El Rampador. Sir, before you are recognized, I will ask you to remove your mask.
Point of order, what is the law?
We just discussed
Jersey,
it.
can you state the Jersey law, please? The Jersey law that states that I can't wear a mask in a public meeting?
You've been given a request by the council president. As a matter of decorum, he has requested that you not wear a costume mask while addressing the council. It is a matter of respect for the council.
It's an unlawful order. It's against the Sunshine Act, and I'd like you to state the order. You're a township attorney. You should know that this is illegal. What do they pay you for?
Okay.
All right, well, I'll take off the mask. I have no problem with taking off the mask. There you go. You know, I want everybody to know you're a commie because I'm talking about you, first of all. You took away disabled rights for disabled vets. You no longer have, this is a ridiculous thing that you have done to disabled vets. You've taken away Zoom access for disabled vets. What kind of commie pinko does that? Was it you? Was it you? Was it you? Was it you, the township attorney? How do you allow your town to get sued for losing disabled access for disabled vets? For 19 months, you gave access to sick and disabled people.
One sec, sir. Please pause this time.
I want my time to stop.
So the reason why I'm calling a point of order, in the California case, I forget the gentleman's name, when he protested the war, they made it clear that you can protest the entire body. A direct attack or a direct mention for a specific individual, that is not permissible. Now, that same applies from the Board of Education.
Online school, online council meetings, online everything, and you gave it to disabled people. For 19 months, you gave it to disabled people. Then you took it away. I want to know why you took it away. A lot of the councils tell me, oh, we have no money, we have no Zoom access, we don't have this. Well, you have all of it. Why did you take away Zoom access for disabled vets? You wouldn't even have this council if it wasn't for disabled vets fighting for your right to be ignorant and ableist, Mr. Patel. Ableist. You know what ableism is? How would you like it if you lost your legs in a war and you were in a deathbed at home and you couldn't, and they took away your access? How would you feel? You'd want people like me fighting for your rights, but you don't care about the disabled. If you did, you'd have Zoom access for the disabled. You don't. They get 0 minutes. They don't get 6 minutes. They don't get 4 minutes. They get 0. Disabled vets get nothing. Nada. Bupkis. Ungats. How do you feel about that? That disabled vets don't have time for your council? That you've locked them out of your council? How do you feel about that? You good with that? You cool? Is all good, bro? You ever fight in a war? You don't look like you fought in a war. How about you? How about you?
No.
Anybody here fighting a war?
No.
I can see why. I can see why you took away access for the disabled vets. Because you don't care. You have no empathy. And I'm calling each one of you out. Each one of you. McCrae, Breschler, Coyle. I can't read your name. Patel. I'm not going to call out you, Mr. Patel. You're actually, I think you're a good egg. I have a feeling you're a good egg. But the rest of you, you allowed this to happen. You allowed disabled vets to lose their access. You all are culpable, all of you. And 68% of Jesus' miracles were for the disabled. Any Christians up there? 68% of Jesus' miracles were for the disabled. Think about that. And think about that when you read Ephesians 6:12. You're in a struggle, not against blood and flesh, but against the authorities, against the powers in this dark world. That's you. That's you, hurting disabled people, hurting the sick and dying, hurting cancer patients in their deathbeds. That's who you're hurting. Sick. What kind of a disgusting human takes away rights for the disabled? You, and you. Whoever else is in here. And Joshie, wherever you are, Joshie. Disgusting display of humanity and ableism. Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. How much time do I have? Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. Can we get it from the back? Disability rights are human rights. Everybody, disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. Can I get it from the front? Disability rights are human rights. 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 Why do you hate our vets, Mr. Patel? Why do you hate our vets? Why do you hate our vets? Why? I'd like to just sit up here and stare at you for another minute and let you think about what I just told you. I hope it sinks in. I hope it sinks in. Maybe it won't with you, but maybe some of you might sink in. Maybe you know a vet. Maybe you know somebody with cancer. Maybe you know somebody who's suffering right now in a wheelchair. And maybe you might change your mind. Maybe you're a Christian. You're like, gee, maybe he made some sense. Maybe Yeshua did, 68% is the right number. Gee, I just looked it up. Whoa, how about that? How about that? Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. How much time? Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. It's been to councils all over this state. And a lot of you guys are getting sued for this. And you don't pay for it. The township attorney is not going to pay for it. You're all going to pay for it. You're all going to pay for it. All the towns that are getting sued, you're all going to pay for it, and you're going to blame you for not doing your job. What do you do all day, Mr. Attorney? You're going to allow your town to get sued for a Zoom access, something you could do in 2 seconds? Really? Why'd you take it away in the first place? Commie pinkos. That's who treats people better than you. Commie pinkos. I'm disgusted. Disgusting display of humanity. Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights. Disability rights are human rights.
Thank you.
Council President?
We have one more person, and then this is the public speaking, and then we can discuss. Is that okay?
Okay, I thought we did them, we're doing them all together, and then we're going to answer.
If you want, that's fine. You can.
Well, because you know what, the gentleman made a valid point. We all here before COVID, right? We never did anything online. But COVID proved that there's an ability for us to do a Zoom access. And I do support our veterans, but I don't want to say I think we want to do this for our veterans. It should be more than the veterans. It's if people do have the disabilities that they cannot make it to this council body. I know we have some older residents in the town, and they have trouble walking and getting here. But allowing, people that have disabilities to participate in a Zoom thing should be like a no-brainer. It should be able to be set up before our next meeting. And I'd like to move that somehow we ask the administration to be able to do this, on a Zoom basis. We could probably put them up on a camera, like up on the screen when they're talking, so that, we could see and hear what they have to say.
I think we have the subcommittee being formed, and I think that would be a good discussion item for them to come back and figure out.
A subcommittee?
Council
of
President,
what?
could you just, point of order, the BA is being disturbed by a resident.
Yeah, can we not?
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle.
The subcommittee for?
The changes to the council decorum and what we just formed.
Right, what I'm saying here, this is, I actually believe that if we don't do this, because I've watched building owners in the city lose a lot of lawsuits because you didn't give access to people with disabilities. So I would really propose that we don't wait for a committee. Like I always say, committees are a great place where good ideas go to die. But what we do is we ask the administration just to put this through on a Zoom and vet through, anybody that has a disability. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're able-bodied and you don't want to come, I might even say I understand having the people come. But anybody that can't walk, we have a resident that doesn't come here, and I know she's very active, It's because some days it's more difficult to walk, and to get up here. So I'd like to ask the administration if they could do this and open up a Zoom for it. It'd be a simple advertisement. We just post it, and then they just have to have that Zoom set up. We did this during COVID.
I agree.
Councilman Patel?
Thank you, Council President. I wholeheartedly agree, but just want to comment. Sir, I'm the first lieutenant in Civil Air Patrol, which is an auxiliary branch of Air Force. So I do care the veterans. I also volunteer my time in the veterans' homes, and I know how it feels. So I fully agree that we should enable the Zoom access so that anyone and everyone who would like to participate in the process of democracy, I call this the democracy, should get the access to this, not only the council, but all the meetings, planning, zoning, library, and everything, so that this government, everyone knows that this government is operating in full and fairness. And you can see when you come in this council chamber, I ask for the information. If I don't get it, that's a transparency. So let's join the hands and make sure that this council or this body takes the consideration of the community at large and give the access to everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Anybody else? All right, moving on to Brett Baker.
Brett Baker, Edison, New Jersey.
You're recognized.
Thank you, kind sir. I was going to stand before you all in a very carefully crafted 5-minute and 42-second speech that I practiced with my wife and 6-year-old son twice today in 2 hours. Then I came in and found out you guys tabled the speaking ordinance. So instead, I'll off the cuff a little bit here with sincere gratitude. What I heard tonight in the motion to table from Councilman Pointer is a recognition that the council has rules, and the rules need to be followed. And I think just following rules is just a sort of a cool, neat thing to do in general. Since we're all on publicly stating I support veterans, I support disabled rights. My wife is at home and has been rocking my almost 3-year-old daughter for like 2 hours trying to get her to bed because I was here. So it's not just able-bodied people who can come to meetings, it's able-bodied people who can't come to meetings. Because I made a choice to skip out on dinner with my family. I made a choice to miss bedtime with my family to come to these meetings. And I don't think it was a luxury, I think it was an access that I think democracy gives us to access our elected officials by any means necessary. That was, it's weird to say it, a positive byproduct of COVID. There were some Zoom meetings that were, for lack of a better word, crap shows. But I think access is important, and I think it's worth looking at. I agree with urgency. I don't think it's just because somebody just stood here and screamed. I do think it's indicative, though, of what I've kind of noted instead of speaking for 5 minutes and 42 seconds about the Ordinance 22-2033 is sort of what feels like a constant state of being behind the 8 ball that this body seems to have via the administration. A couple points of note. I'm shocked at how much work it took to make 2233 get tabled. Like I just am shocked that the rule modifications weren't aware. I can appreciate advisory opinions, but even that, just like the teeth pulling to be like, well, the lawyer did give us an advisory opinion. Like that should have been square one. But we have rules. We respect our residents. But like the big one that I just kind of want to like ad lib here a little bit is I'm sort of growing tired of listening to council meetings on YouTube. So a Zoom meeting would be helpful. And like literally almost cutting off my finger while cooking dinner, which I'll admit, I got to be more careful with my knives. But like there's a growing trend of just disdain, Council President might be the word. Not you, I'm just addressing, because I'm addressing the body, I'm addressing you. That, I'm floored to hear through the Council President, Councilman Patil, that the request for the bill list for this media company wasn't provided. Like, I've worked for nonprofits, I've worked for schools. Like, if we're paying an invoice, that invoice has to be, you're charging me $5,000, it needs to be a line item invoice. This body has a fiduciary responsibility to monitor that invoice. And I wholeheartedly love and appreciate, sorry, Councilman Coyle, did I?
No, Councilman Coyle.
It's a repeated pattern, man. It's still happening. I'm just gonna use my time to just
publicly recognize.
If I have a right to.
Councilman Coyle, he is recognized. Council.
So anyways, I fully recognize the points made around services rendered. I just think that the points made by Councilman Brescher through Council President and Councilman Patil are valid in that if there are valid questions about what the township is spending its money on, this body needs to look at it. And I just think it's a valid question to ask. I don't think we should be behind the 8 ball on it. I think this Jackson Avenue flyer is right to send out to the residents. But again, I'm shocked it took the work of Councilman Pointer to push the administration to do it. So I would encourage this body to really work to find why the administration is so far behind the 8 ball on so many things. And I mean that out of the utmost respect. Like running a town of 100,000 people, I don't dispute is not an easy thing, but there's a lot of really smart people here. And I've been listening to meetings lately and we just feel behind the 8 ball. And I will admit we're behind the 8 ball because there's some distracting things happening. But, so I just want to really push that. I just think that, but I came tonight, Ordinance 2233. I'm glad it got tabled. I applaud the move to go to subcommittee. I would encourage the subcommittee to seek resident input. I think an amicable solution is every council member nominates 1 or 2 people to join the subcommittee to share these opinions. There are a lot of opinions in this room that come regularly. We might not like them, we might like them, but I think everybody deserves to be heard. And so 3 people, while I respect the 3 people the council president chose and respect those opinions, I think there's a way to bring everybody together and get there. And that's just sort of my last charge of what was a 5-minute and 42-second speech was to just find ways to get people, thank you so much, Marlena. So great seeing you 2 weeks in a row. To find ways to encourage people to communicate more, to feel validated when they come, to feel appreciated when they come, to feel heard, to feel understood. And for the sake of my next 40 seconds, just, to encourage people like me to want to keep coming, to find a way to, how do we have productive and rigorous dialogues without getting yelled at by members of council, to not get distracted by members of council, to be respected by members of council. And I hear you, respect is a 2-way street. But as a voter, I get to hold you all accountable, unfortunately, because I voted for you. And you guys pay the bills, as evidenced, right? You have the fiduciary responsibility to pay the bills. I yield my time.
Thank you, Brett. Anybody else that would like to speak?
Diana Jaffe, 86 Laurel Hollow Court.
You're recognized.
It's a tough act to follow back there. It's been a lot of negative comments tonight, a lot of emotion. I just got up here to say that I missed the ordinance about the sight line on Inman Avenue and Marin Road. I wanted to thank you, to the administration, to the council, whoever was responsible for getting it done. Those hedges are down, right, Sonia? Yes. I could finally look over and see. There's still hedges in the back, but at least there's sight, and it's much safer than it was. So I just want to say, appreciate the work, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diana. Anybody else that would like to speak?
I'd just like to make a statement.
Name and address, please. Sir, name and address, please.
I'm answering you.
Huh? I'm sorry. Sir, can I get the name and address?
Well, I never give my name, and I never give my address.
You're recognized.
I'm speaking. Well, I never give my name, and I never give my address. I don't want to be dealing with the madness. The road I live on, the part of town am I from? Is it even this one? Is he rich? Is he scum? I'm just here to drop bombs and shoot missiles at corrupt government officials. I'll be taking names, creating change. What the heck? You might be writing me a couple checks. You think I ain't serious? Or I'm delirious. You're the ones whose actions are nefarious. What's his name? We don't know. Well, put me down as good citizen or put me down as John Doe. You don't need my name, And you don't need my address. You don't need to know any of my status. How dare you pry and always try all the time, government, trying to take what's mine. Can you make sense of this? How this information is personal and sensitive. And I'm never going to exchange the fourth to exercise my First Amendment. Well, I never give my name, and I never give my address. I don't want to be dealing with the madness. The road I live on, the part of town am I from? Is it even this one? Is he rich? Is he scum? I'm just here to drop bombs and shoot missiles at corrupt government officials. I'll be taking names, creating change. What the heck, you might be writing me a couple checks to think I ain't serious. Or I'm delirious. You're the ones whose actions are nefarious. What's his name? We don't know. Put me down as good citizen or put me down as John Doe. And I never give my name. And I never give my address. I never give my name. And I never give my address. One more time.
All right. Thank you for that wonderful performance. Anybody else that would like to speak?
I think that's a first.
That was a first. I'll take it.
I don't think
No, don't worry about it.
Even at school board?
No.
Name and address, please.
Thomas Leckie, Netherwood Circle.
You're recognized.
Okay. One concern I have is, I guess, last school year I came up here and talked about people parking along John Adams Middle School in the curved section of road to pick up their children. The council arranged for a sign to be put up. I came here last council meeting. Sign was put up after that. It worked before. I hope it worked again. But now that sign has been removed. I was wondering if the town council can arrange to have that sign put back up again, just to alleviate a safety hazard by people having to go cross the double yellow line on New Dover Road.
So, continue.
My second concern that I've talked about, I liken it to rope-a-dope with Muhammad Ali. I brought the issue of cricket play at John Adams Middle School. As I said months ago, it hit my car. I've learned from a township employee that cricket is it's not an approved field to play cricket. However, this town allows that to happen, perpetuating the people playing there. It's going to become like, hey, let's meet up again at John Adams, run the risk of balls hitting people's car. Nothing is done. Councilmember Pointer had told me he was going to look into, he was going to champion this for me. I've heard nothing after our first email exchange where I sent the email that I sent to the chief and the mayor and Councilmember Patil. I haven't heard nothing about it. I'm looking for some closure on this, because then I don't have to come and sit here through this meeting unless there's something else comes up. So first of all, I'd like to see that electronic billboard sign put back up at John Adams. And secondly, I'd like to see this issue of cricket play at John Adams resolved and put to bed. Thank you.
Just real quick, the electric billboard sign, what was that sign in regards to? The no parking sign? Okay. All right. Thank you.
So for the Council President, just to answer the question, Sanya, is there a way the township can send email to Board of Education to let them know? Because we really are not going there, right? But if the formal communication goes out to the board, not to the board, but to superintendent, saying they need to monitor the field to make sure they don't allow, or maybe put a signage there, no cricket allowed or something.
Just so respect, and I know you weren't at this particular meeting. I did bring it up. The superintendent was in the meeting. I personally don't know how else I can try to assist in my capacity here. Gentleman's brought it up. I brought it up in the Board of Education meeting. For me personally, I apologize, sir, if my follow-up was not as thorough. I do apologize about that. I'm just kind of at a standstill now, if I'm being honest. Thank you, Council President.
Council President?
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Councilman Brusher.
Yes, I'd like to ask the chief if there's a way possible. It's a reoccurring theme, right? I heard him from people on Jackson Avenue. I've heard it from the resident right here in our chamber, and I heard it from a resident about New Brunswick and Ethel, but they're not the only places that I want to say. So what happens is they've all told me the same thing. When they call your department is very active, and you get right on it, and you do make a difference during that enforcement time. I don't know how long you've worked here in Edison, right? I don't know when your career started, but I'd like to say that back in 1980, right, when I started driving, our police department at that time took a different approach. They didn't wait till the resident complained. What they did was, by me, there was a patrol car that would sit, you never knew what time, in Polanski Park, it's called now. It was called Oak Grove, I think, back then. And they would sit at the bottom of the hill, waiting for cars to come down the hill fast. Now, you didn't know, could be there on Tuesday at 3, could be there Wednesday at 10, right? It was, and I don't know what that was called, if they were stationed there, or maybe that's just where they had their lunch. I don't know what it was. But what would happen would be, there would be nobody speeding past my home on Grove, because you were terrified to what was going to happen in the park, because you didn't know who was there ever. So we don't have speeding back then. But now, what I noticed on Grove is everybody drives 45 miles an hour, maybe 50. But it's not just my street. So I'm not calling about my street. I'm talking about the residents that just complained. And what they've all asked is that you just put this on a regular schedule for enforcement and not have to wait for them to call. Is there a way that we have the manpower to do this?
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes.
So to answer your question, yes, and sometimes no. How about that? So we have streets that are reoccurring, that we have a regular traffic enforcement because we get complaints on a regular basis. Then there are other streets that pop up occasionally that we do some enforcement, like you said, we respond, we put extra officers out there, we write some summonses, and the issue quells for a while. And then at some point, we have to go back almost like a maintenance situation.
Yes.
All right. So to answer your question, we do a little of both. Okay. The gentleman that was just up there talking about New Dover Road, we have been working constantly with John Adams Middle School on that particular problem. I can certainly get the VMS board placed back up there again. But we have been in constant contact with John Adams, working with their security staff there, as well as our traffic unit to keep the problem at bay.
Right, now that's where I'm going. I'm looking for this to be more of a giant maintenance thing for you, not for you to do sometimes or partially, but for you to do this until it is quelled. Like, I'll tell you what, I don't think people drove over 25 miles an hour coming down Grove Avenue in that house till probably somewhere around the 90s. And then the way the enforcement happened was different. They no longer sat in that park. So when everybody knows they're not sitting in the park, right, you inherently use speed. So what I'm looking at, right, is where these areas are. Can you just do it on a regular basis, and can we try this for a year with the problem areas we have?
Well, again, we get complaints literally almost daily in regards to speeding. So it's not like we get one and then we can address that one. You know, they come in and almost on a regular basis. So we're constantly jumping from location to location. So, excuse me, some we have to spend more time on, because we know based on experience, and we've been doing this a long time, that some areas are more in need than others. And like I said, some we can put some quick enforcement, kind of quell the problem for a while, and then have to do some maintenance. So it really depends on the street. I can't broad base, the entire town, but I can tell you, depending on the street, some are getting more attention than others because they're more of a problem there than others.
Right, and I think that's how you should, do it. We leave it up to you to come up with the formula. But where I'm going is that I keep on hearing it's the same thing that I hear from all the residents. They all think our police department does a great job. They all think you guys are wonderful. I haven't had one complaint, okay? And if there was,
We certainly are very appreciative of that.
I would tell you if it was. They would just like that proactive approach where they no longer have to call, because they find that frustrating, because they say they know. Like Jackson Avenue, a lot of people there all told me they know. And
we spend a lot of time on Jackson Avenue working with the residents, working with the school to try to come up with a plan that makes sense to help, especially during those peak times of pickup and drop off. So we have had a lot of contact in that particular neighborhood, especially along Jackson Avenue.
Can you get us a copy of what you've done over there on Jackson? I know you have a record of that.
Sure, I'll talk to the traffic unit, and I can get you some information.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak? Up the announcer.
Dr. Nasser, Pleasant Avenue.
You're recognized.
I really shouldn't be here. There's lots of times where I shouldn't be at some of these meetings. It's actually the legal anniversary, the 10-year of me and my wife. But it was important for me to come here. But I wanted to apologize for coming late. I've been kind of burning the candle on both ends. I went to a BO meeting before. I was also then trying to craft what I was going to say to that ordinance from 6 to 4 minutes, because it was coming out very angry and I didn't really like it. Thankfully, I didn't have to say anything, and it was somewhere around 6 minutes or whatever. I was going to speak loud, long, and fast on that one. What I want to do is I want to thank. I was going to actually leave, but I thought I owed you the courtesy of thanking the people that helped finally get the 3.5-story ordinance passed. So thank you. I'm going to start off with Councilwoman Harris, Councilman Brescher, Councilman Patil, and Pointer. I think I got everybody. I thought we were going to get maybe another vote from when I watched on Monday, but you know what? It worked out anyways. I want to talk about a couple things. We heard some things from Councilman Coyle about me sharing a list of the people that I spoke to. I am under no obligation to go ahead and share it, and it doesn't make any difference right now. The ordinance passed, that's water under the bridge right now. He made some points about the people that come and express their opinions being 50 years old and they're resistant to change. I don't know what the ages of people are. I am not 50 years old. Might be getting close there. The hair might say that I am 50, but you know what? I'm not. But I'm assuming that Councilman Coyle is older than me, but he's resistant to change too. He doesn't want to have Amboy Avenue change. He wants to stay to the 2016 ordinance that he was a council member. He didn't even vote for it. So I'm just very confused about what's going on there. We want to move forward. John Pointer spent a long time putting something together. I think it'll work. I think we have to do a lot more. In talking to the people that we talked to, we discovered that there was a redevelopment agency that we can go ahead and work with. We can go ahead and talk, when we're talking to the mayor, he said that we can go ahead and through bonds, we could go ahead and take over properties and we could go ahead and develop the locations as we want. So there are different pathways to make Amboy Avenue a more viable community and good for the businesses and for the general public. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that Councilman Coyle always says that, you know, there's only some people that are coming in the audience here and talking about one viewpoint. At the same point as somebody who's a Chamber of Commerce and somebody who's a councilman, he is welcome to bring his audience that he wants to, but for 10 months, we didn't see that. So I don't understand what's the point on bringing that issue up every single time. All of this is a moot point though, but I just can't sit there anymore and keep listening to this. It just doesn't make sense to me. I wish that we could rebut the council sometimes, because sometimes I speak or residents speak at the back there. I heard it on Monday, or maybe it was a different day, maybe it was September 9th, that somebody made some comments and then somebody on the council said that they were saying something completely different than what they've said. I've also said some things and maybe you forget what I say or you misheard something that I said, and sometimes just kind of a waste of time if you're not talking about what we talked about. At the BOA candidate night tonight, I talked about sidewalks, something that I brought up many months ago. You likely will get them, somebody will probably communicate with you guys to talk about the sidewalks that I told you about with Gloria and also with Cabot Avenue. I was curious about why we keep getting the agendas very late. Today's came out about maybe 12:50, 1 o'clock. I feel like that in order for us to try to stay to 6 minutes, or 4 minutes, I'm sorry, if that's what you want us to go to, we need to be able to understand what is on the agenda. Otherwise, we're kind of, you know, just trying to talk while we're up here because we haven't had time to prepare. And that's just something that continues to happen. If you can speak on that. I know that Councilman Pointer, I think you said something about maybe we can try to get the discussion items in sooner or something like that. Speaking of discussion items, I thought that the whole intent of discussion items was to allow you to have time to go ahead and research the issues. I know what Councilwoman Harris, she had asked legal about the mask. Speaking about the masks, I just feel like maybe just let them talk. I mean, Christo had like a minute left and we made a big deal about it. We probably spent like 3 minutes on that. Just let him say his piece. The more attention you give to people, we seem to have new characters, or I feel like I should have paid admission to come today. So I don't really know what's going on, but it's seeming like the way that we're going is not working out. We're going in a direction that I don't think that is working for us. I have things scattered all around here. I'm just going to see if there's anything else. Thank you. If there's anything else that I want to talk about. And I think that's really it. Again, thank you so much for the work that you have done. And the thing I wanted to say was this. I apologize for being late, but it didn't seem like it mattered. I didn't have to say a word, and it still passed. So that just shows you the momentum of the movement that the Clara Barn residents had. Thank you.
Thank you, Akhtar. Anybody else that would like to speak?
Momentum of senior citizens.
Makes you look like Santa.
Joycia Freeman.
You recognize?
Listen, after seeing this whole show tonight, and they asked me, and people keep asking me every place I go, why'd you get thrown out? All I said was grown men. And I'm like watching this whole thing, so this is something else. It's just ridiculous at this point. That's why everybody think this is a show, because you don't put the right efforts in it. I went to the Board of Ed debate tonight, was very good, and very concise, and everybody answered their questions. They didn't ramble on back and forth. And I do want to say about John Pointer, when he was there at the meeting on Jackson, they held his feet to the fire. They held his feet. They didn't take no mercy on him. They jumped him the whole time. So I can say we were at the meeting. And with the Jackson Avenue, I was on that with the school system, and I know enough to talk about it being at the different meetings and stuff with the people. And I'm like, on Amboy Avenue, if you worried about stuff, get rid of those bump outs. If you really want people downtown, get rid of the bump outs, because that's what If one car is there because of those bump outs, you'll stop for like 10, 15 minutes, okay? And don't let a fire come up, Don't let another truck get on fire, then you're like there for about 2 days. That's how that comes across. I'm still, I would like, if it be possible, to have on the trucks on Joel Street, I would like to have the site plan and the hazardous review plan so that if something was to happen there that would be major, something would come out of that. And as I think they were talking about 564, I think they were talking about the information that we get. We get information, and I don't blame people that are up here on the council. Like, I don't blame Councilman Brescher, and I don't blame Councilman Patel for not supporting mail that goes out against them every time. They send all these negative things out. I think it's childish and petty coming from the administration, but I think it's childish and petty. But they'll send all this negative stuff at them, but they won't say anything about the two of them being there for the POW, MIA. When we're talking about veterans, you don't get that positive stuff in the mail. So all everybody gets is negative stuff about you. You know what I mean? And the thing is, most of the time, 97% of the stuff you go along with. And different constituents are telling me they're tired of that type of mail being sent out with our taxpayer money. All right? We don't need your election stuff and all your stuff moving it. We don't need that. And we don't need you to denigrate other council members, because everybody's here and everybody's working. We can respectfully disagree with people. Like somebody he was talking about before, Walter Stoschel. The people used to get $6,000 for the year, and they used to sit here at 12 o'clock midnight. They would sit here, and the people up on the council would say, guess what? I respectfully disagree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion. They never looked at anybody any differently, no matter what walk of life they came from or anything. And this is the type of council and the type of sideshow you're getting all that. Because you know what I mean? That's what you get, you reflect. When you do stuff negatively, negative people come back, And just like they said before, he knew that in the last minute, all he had to do was put the mask on and y'all would go Harry Carey. He knew that. That's why he's waiting now just for that whole show. And I'm like, you're grown-ups. Grown-ups, like stop falling for stuff like that. I mean, I've been in the school with students like that, and they behave better. You put too much emphasis on negative stuff. And all I say is stop using my tax money, sending out mail, talking negatively about other council members just because they don't agree with you on a particular item. And with the 4 minutes to 6 minutes, I'm like, if I'm the teacher in the classroom and this one kid is talking, I got to punish the whole class because I can't handle one child? No, something's really wrong with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that would? Can I get a motion to extend the time?
Motion to extend the meeting a half hour to 10:30.
Seconded.
That's a motion by Councilman Pointer to extend to 10:30.
11?
A second by Councilman Patel to extend the meeting
To 11?
10:30.
We'll make it 11.
We
Give
can
the
extend it
public-
later.
All right.
There's a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anybody else to speak?
Good evening, everyone.
Name and address, please.
Hisham Sarwani, Delview Drive, Edison, New Jersey.
Hisham
Sarwani, yeah.
Delview Drive, right? Delview Drive? Yeah.
Correct.
You
First time
recognized.
I'm addressing the council. Thank you for indulging me. I had originally come here to add my voice to object to Ordinance 2233, and found out I was a little late that it's been tabled. I'm coming up on my 12th year of citizenship in America. Prior to that, it was a 15-year slog trying to become a citizen. And the day I became a citizen, this country became home for me. But Edison has been home for me for 30 years. And though you may not see me here at every meeting, I do try to watch as much as I can on YouTube. I've come to respect a lot of the council for the love they show for this town, which I feel definitely. And I would just like to encourage everyone, myself included, to always keep the township, the betterment of the township, in the forefront. Sometimes things become murky and gray. I'm a big believer in clear communication. The better the township can communicate with its residents, I think better work can get done. In that spirit, I would also like to include a request that township agendas should not just be showing up on the day of the meeting. Not just the town council, but the residents should be aware of what's going to be discussed at the meeting. So if they're able to carve out the time to attend and voice their concerns, I think it would be better for everyone, and I think you might get a better attendance out of it also. In addition to that, I would like to bring up what I think is a severe lapse in judgment. I've just seen a brand new traffic light come up at the junction of Oak Tree Road and Warwick. And for some reason, the junction of Harding Avenue and Oak Tree seems to be less important. I live very close to Harding Avenue. I see those cars racing down that hill all the time, how difficult it's become ever since that development opened up right on the corner. I really feel there is a need, a more urgent need for a traffic light at that junction. So I'd like to find out what the decision was that made people choose, or whoever the powers that be, choose Warwick over Harding. Slightly better comment I'd like to make is I really must commend whoever's in charge of recording and putting up the council meetings on YouTube for doing an excellent job. It really makes it easier for residents to be aware of what's going on. There is a silent majority out there that does care and that does watch and that does vote. So that being said, we're here to get heard and hopefully get resolutions to what the problems are for this township. I also want to just thank what I say are the unsung heroes, which are the regular residents that show up to the meetings. We appreciate you being here. It makes a difference. And on my part, I will try to attend more regularly. It would help again if we could have the agendas in advance so we can plan these things. Thank you for the time. And yes, let's work together to get this town up and better. Thank you.
Thank you, Hesham.
Council President.
Councilman Pointer?
Thank you. Just want to make a quick comment on the agendas. For anyone that's interested, I know that we technically have 2 meetings, but outside of the one ordinance today, generally it's the same items. So you can always look to the Monday meetings agenda because on a Wednesday regular session, they're pretty much the same. For the work session meetings on Mondays, those are usually put online for Friday. So just for your reference. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Pointer. Anybody else?
Council President?
Councilman Brescher?
Yes, I just wanted to, when you talked about the lights, I just wanted to let you know, and Councilman Coyle or Councilman Patil could probably comment, but I believe the one on Warwick was probably talked about doing and put up to do probably 7 years ago or better. They are doing something on Harding, but it's at the beginning stages. I think we approved grant money for design work because right, because of the bridge with the railroad tracks. it made it more complicated. And I assume that that will be done, probably going with the timeline, 7 to 8 more years from now is when that'll actually happen. For whatever reason, lights seem to take a long time. That'd be it.
Thank you for that. Name and address, please.
Carl Zimmerman, through the chair, to Rich Pressure.
You're recognized.
Way before your time, before 80, in the 60s and 70. You know who used to park over there? Number 1, Chief Brian's dad, Danny Miller, Lou LaPlaga, many guys. You know, leave your camera alone, right? You pick on me enough for the last 3 years. The traffic guys we got today are great. Don't get me wrong. They're good guys. But we got like George Spanlock back again, Esposito, Billy Coletto. Even they only work 1 day a week. We can make a lot of money. I retired 90 days ago. Everybody took notice. I'm getting calls. We got signs up all over the place. But I'm not going any further because I couldn't do my job for 3 years. I was barred from the area. I would take up this conversation at another meeting, another time, because of one person. One person. And what did the town do about it? Nothing. Why? Do you know I was barred? Yes, you do. Mr. Patel knew I was barred. He knew I was barred. Tommy Bryan knew I was barred. He barred me right there. This guy right there barred me for doing my job on July 7th of 21. And I would bring in my ledger sheet for that day. The next day I got barred by Pat Coyle. We got him and our buddies. And my wife asked him a question on the phone one day. He hung up on her. And my wife said, I was dying in bed. She said, he barred you since July 7th last year. When I pass away, I do not want him at the funeral or the services. That's why he wasn't at my retirement party 2 months ago. He put me through hell for 3 years. Don't go to the meeting, you'll be fired. How you feel like it? If you was in my shoes. You wouldn't like it. I left this town clean on June 30th. Clean, with no signs. Look at it now. Are we in Newark, Elizabeth? I was the cheapest paying inspector in this building. I couldn't get a stipend because of him. Go ahead, keep laughing, Joe. Laugh, because you know it's true. You're not a man enough. With the rooming house and everything else. I know a lot. And I had enough. Any comments? John, you knew I was barred. And John, you know you was poisoned by him to me. That's why you don't talk to me or annoy me. And a lot of other people on Amway Avenue, I was told, don't talk to me, he's a piece of shit. This has been building for 3 years, guys. 3 years. But I did my job. I'm speaking the truth. I was accused in this being in the yard of the Chambers. Accused. It was a guy in the neighborhood complaining to me about rats in the neighborhood. They tried to play in the Chinese place. I said, no, Go behind the coffee house, look in the yard. You got more rats running around. I got a picture of a rat in the fence, dead, from the chambers to the coffee house. Then he put my name up the next meeting. Oh, I was in the yard. You're falsifying. You're accusing me. I was in the yard. The neighbor who just gave the owner of the Woodbridge Brewery a trophy at the Pines Mountain 2 months ago. Wasn't that fixed? I know a lot, Tony.
There's 1 minute.
I ain't been up here 3 years. I got more than 1 minute. I'm getting my frustrations out. He's like, hoping I have to go home and have a heart attack tonight. But I died 8 years ago. I came back stronger. I was gone. I had 240 heartbeat before they lost me. 8 years ago last week. My blood pressure right now is 115/70. You know anything about blood pressure? I'm in damn good shape for my age, man. People feel it's foggy. Think about leave out this old man. I ain't no chump. I had a real job. I was a union labor for 25 years. I had 75 vending machines. I had a hot dog truck in Round Center for 32 years. He ate down there all the time for free. And
Thank you, Carl.
Sir,
Your time is up.
Sir, I ain't smoked for 3 years. I'm 74 years old.
I understand. We can take this offline if you like, but your time is up. You will have to step down.
Sir.
If you continue.
I was falsely accused for stuff I didn't do.
If you continue, I'll have to ask you to be removed. Please sit down. You can continue.
You are one person that don't want to have me be removed.
Please sit down. Thank you.
Council President?
Thank you for your time.
Councilman Brusher?
Yes, to our attorney.
All right, sir, you cannot continue talking.
Sir.
Officers.
Respect your elders.
I respect it,
Respect
but I
your
also
elders.
respect the decorum of the chambers.
Respect your elders.
Officers, please. All right.
Council President, to our attorney.
Councilman Brusher.
Like I said in the back room, there are certain people that don't know Edison, don't know our history, right? And you happen to be one of them. We have a lot of new council people here that don't know. But the other day when I made a comment about our DPW employees and whether they should get paid to be here or not get paid, and you said you were more concerned, right? More concerned about like an intimidation where they feel that they have to be here. This is probably an example of exactly what I was talking about. This individual here retired, so he remained silent. Now that he retired, the truth comes out. So when you said you were deeply concerned, maybe you should start looking into this, is what I'm saying. And that's why I brought it up to you the other day. I wanted it on the record, right? And whatever happens in the future, we know that I brought it to Michael's attention, and what happens, happens at the end of the day. Either you protect us or you don't. But I'd just like you to just take notice that that was a former employee of the town. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher.
Council President.
Councilman Patel.
Just want to, point out, Carl, you were always great to this council and to the resident of the town. I personally value your contribution while you are working for the town. I never felt that, again, many things might be going in a Clara Barton section. I am not aware of that. But to me personally, you are a very good guy. So thank you for your service to the town.
Sir, you cannot talk. Sir, officer.
Point of order.
Officer. If you talks, actually, can you just please remove him because I gave him plenty of warnings already. I'm sorry. Anyone else that would like to speak?
Council President.
Councilman Coyle.
It's fair I just make comment. First, I want to say the resident who came up here, I think it was in the late 90s, we helped create the job that he had. And he did a fabulous job at it. That's all I could say. He was picking up signs in the neighborhood, and he did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Name
Hassan
and address?
Shehzad, 5 Jennifer Court.
What was the name? Sorry.
Hassan Shehzad.
Hassan. Okay, you're recognized.
So I mean, my friend here already talked about the Harding Avenue light. And I mean, one of the council members made a comment about taking 6 to 7 years to get the light. I mean, this intersection is dangerous. I mean, it's not like a nice to have light, it's a necessity. If you guys don't believe me, try, like I invite you to come there like around 5 p.m. and try to make a left turn. On average, if you guys like make it like lesser than 5 minutes, you know, I'll take you all out for dinner. But it's...
Hold up, I may take
Hey, Councilman Coyle, let him finish.
But it's impossible. And I mean, I don't know how many of you have actually seen that place, but it's like a blind spot after the hill. And I don't know what our drivers are thinking, like, you know, there's like a promised land on the other side or something, or they want to shoot like an 80s shot where like, you know, a car jumps over the hill and somebody's trying to take a video underneath the car. But I mean, they're like exceeding 40, 50 miles at that blind spot. And not only the left turn, like the right turn is impossible at times. So, you know, there's a dire need for a light there. If we don't put a light there, there are going to be accidents, if not already. You know, I've at least seen 1 or 2 minor ones, but, you know, God forbid, for serious accidents. The second issue, you know, it's more directed to the deputy. So a couple of months ago, I had some interaction with your front-end staff, like, you know, the people who deal with like police certificates at your office, the front end, like the front desk staff. So my mother-in-law needed like a police/character certificate. And it was like a requirement from the USCIS. You know, her naturalization ceremony was pending because she needed like a character certificate from all the municipalities or the local bodies that she's kind of lived in the last 5 years. So we were able to arrange her character certificate from like, you know, New York Police Division, but we couldn't get it through you guys. And we were told that since she did not have like a formal ID, she was not considered the resident of Edison, even though she had lived here for like 2-3 years. She had filed like federal and state taxes here. You know, she had like an insurance on the address where she was living here in Edison. But since she did not have like a formal state ID, New Jersey ID, so they did not, you know, the Edison township doesn't consider her as a resident. And I understand, you know, there are like procedures and rules in place for the front desk people to kind of refer to. But I mean, there are corner cases where those rules don't apply as such, or you come across a case where like, you know, it's not obvious. My only concern is like, we went there a couple of times and we agreed to what, you know, you have like a pamphlet which says like, if you're not a resident, then you only get the character certificate from the state of New Jersey. But the way they deal with you is, you know, I mean, they don't even want to give you a chance. They didn't even tell us like, okay, you know, come back, we'll discuss it internally. We'll discuss with somebody else, with our supervisor or something. But I mean, both times they were hostile. Like, you know, you interact with them. I mean, I'm not a police professional, but like, you know, I mean, they are. So as a normal resident, at least, you know, like they owe me this courtesy to at least kind of talk to me like in a courteous manner and not be like hostile. Like, I mean, I'm not asking for anything illegal or that, but you know, so it's just like those 2 interactions that me and my wife had were like very hostile, like, you know, in terms of your staff. So maybe if they can get like a better like training in public interaction and being like, you know, slightly kind of like more compassionate with people, would really appreciate it.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes.
I'd be more than happy to talk to you offline, specifically about the issues you had. And I'm assuming this is through our Records Bureau. Is that correct? Police records? And I'd be happy to speak to Captain Gerba, who heads up that area, and hopefully we can come to some resolution. But I'd be happy to talk to you more offline.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, I mean, the issue is now resolved. It kind of delayed our process by a few weeks, but we were able to resolve it like through that other federal body. Like, we just told them as such. But, just like, I mean, it's not like I don't want to pinpoint like a certain individual at your office, but just like a general suggestion.
Well, listen, I can't guarantee you that we were able to help you with your documentation because I'm not, actually familiar with what you're asking for. However, it concerns me when you're saying about, that you felt that you were treated somewhat hostile. So that I'm going to certainly look into, and that's why I'd like to talk to you further about that. As far as the specific document you were looking for, I can't say if we were able to help you with that or not.
And
Because I don't know enough about it.
I understand, like, there might be certain rules and regulations where you can't issue that document. I respect that. But, like, to turn down somebody, you can also do it, like, in a more civil way and not, like, kind of give a vibe where you're just, there's like a face-off. I mean, it doesn't need to be that way.
I understand completely. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak? Okay, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
May I have a second? Second. All right, motion by Councilman Coyle, second by Councilman Patil. All in favor?
Aye.
Council President? Before we motion to, yes. Okay. All right, before we motion to adjourn, we do have a birthday in the house, so I would ask the council to join us and sing happy birthday. On three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Councilman Shmuel. Happy birthday to you.
Congratulations.
All right. I have a motion on the table. Everybody, please sit down. Motion on the table.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. A second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion to adjourn by Councilman Patil, second by Councilman Brusher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And this meeting has ended at 10:23 p.m.